Hey, welcome back. For the next series of videos, we're going to be considering first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form. These are very important database normalization concepts. Today, we're going to be tackling first normal form, the foundation of clean relational design. By the end, you'll be able to spot violations of first normal form and fix them confidently. So, what is first normal form? Well, first normal form says one cell, one value. This means no composite or multi-valued attributes, and each column holds one data type. Each row should be uniquely identifiable and keyed with an identifier. And finally, each row must be uniquely identified in itself. There can't be a repeating group like phone 1, phone 2, phone 3 in the same table. Why does first normal form matter? Well, first normal form makes tables more predictable and it simplifies queries. This improves integrity and it reduces redundancy. And really, it sets us up for higher normal forms, which we'll get into later. Let's look at the first rule of first normal form, atomic single values. If you catch yourself stuffing multiple values into a single cell, split them up into multiple rows, often into a child table. You see, each cell should only hold one value. They shouldn't have things like lists, comma-separated values, or even JSON in it. Consider the idea of a book table. There are multiple authors in this table column. After converting to first normal form, we have split the table into two tables. Here's another way to visualize the state of first normal form for the book table. The issue should be visible with the multiple author names listed in the author column. After splitting the table, we have normalized it away from using multi-value attributes by adding an author table. The two tables now have clearly mapped rows that are linked by the book ID. Let's consider another example. The table presented has multiple employee IDs and multiple employee names associated with two different projects. This causes issues if we want to write a query by the employee ID. How do we ever query by employee ID in this format? Well, you simply can't. Let's normalize the data tables and look again. Now consider how we might decompose this into two tables. Notice how the primary key and the employee IDs of the employee name are spread out on additional rows. The table structure could already accommodate this usage, and more importantly, this normalized form is much easier to write a SQL statement for, querying based on either employee ID, project number, or a combination of the two. So Rule 1 concerned atomic values. Let's consider Rule 2 of the first normal form. Rule 2 is one data type per column. This means that each column must store only one type of data. For example, don't mix dates with text or IDs with notes. Consider the example where both the date and the names are in the same column. These are two completely different data types, and if we need to ensure formatting, well, we cannot in a simple and easy fashion. The idea here is to keep it simple. The better option is to decompose the implicit data attributes into two separate columns, as you see here with date of birth column and a full name column. Now we can ensure data integrity and even write SQL on date ranges, or if we want to, SQL on the names. Let's dive into rule number 3 of first normal form, which says unique rows must have a primary key. In its simplest form, this means that every row must be identified by a primary key. Going further, the primary key should be unique and not null, and we do this by choosing stable identifiers. Surrogate keys are the best. A surrogate key is a database-generated primary key with no business meaning. It exists only to uniquely identify a row, like auto-increment IDs, or UUIDs. Surrogate keys can be quickly defined in SQL when you create a table. Let's move on to the final and last rule of first normal form. Rule number 4 says no repeating groups. So we want to avoid tables having columns that repeat similar values, like phones, emails, or addresses. Instead, replace the column or group with a child row in a table separately to represent them. This would be like a phone table, email table, or an address table. For example, we'd take the phone record out of the student table and put it into a student phone table that has a student ID to link back to the student. Here's another visualization of rule number 4. Notice we have Jimmy Dean is listed in a student table with 3 other columns for phone numbers. As you can see, we've moved the phones to a new table. This allows easier querying of data, and we have keyed the record to include phone ID and student ID for linking the tables. Let's consider one more example with college courses. Before first normal form, we have a course table with course ID, title, and instructors. But as you can see, this is kind of problematic for figuring out which instructor is teaching a particular course. There's no easy way to query by instructor name. After normalizing the tables, we have a course table and we have a course instructor table. This allows us to normalize the data and the structure. Additionally, take notice for a moment of the crow's feet with a one course to multiple course instructors. Let's do a quick review for first normal form. First of all, the table should be atomic with no aggregated values. Second, one data type per column. Don't use a key and a name or a date and a text in the same column. Thirdly, every row must have a primary key. This is important for table linkages based on primary and foreign keys. And finally, there should be no repeating groups. It may be easy at first to have repeating columns or similar data, but this is really bad when trying to access data more efficiently. Okay, that may seem like a lot, but it's very important to grasp for first normal form, especially as we prepare to move on to second normal form and third normal form. That's it for now. If you've made it this far in the video, please do me a favor and like and subscribe. It really helps. Also, leave a comment about what you learned today. I'd love to hear from you. Take care.